YouTube was good. So in this episode, I was lucky enough to link up with 3 barbers that I respect in the barber game. Banks and CZ, I used to work with. Rahman, RX Fades. We just follow each other throughout the years coming up, and someone I really respect. I also got to link up with my coach Cam from York Muay Thai. He's been my coach for like 4 years, and Muay Thai is something that I used to do often. But as soon as I became a barber, I had to slow it down. So that's something I'm really trying to get back in touch with too. So if you're watching this, I just want to thank you for clicking the video.
They think I know the way, 'cause I took control of things, ball in the solo way. And if you pattern my trend, I make you my protege. Crossing that soldier race, niggas don't know them days. Take you in back of the buildings, make you expose your rage. Take you across the tracks, make you explode the face. Now you official now, but you got a soul to save.
So I'm here with my coach Cam. He's been training me for around 5 years now, 5-6 years. What would you say is the biggest life lesson you learned from Muay Thai?
That most things that you try to avoid eventually catch up with you. So it's usually better to just face them head on.
And from when I first started 5 years ago, when did you really see me change and adapt better into Muay Thai? Like when you saw something change in me?
Probably about like a year and a half in, when you transitioned to intermediate and you started sparring, saw a new life and interest and energy in you. Definitely that was when you know, you came to life in Muay Thai.
Miss Ansel. I work out throw. I'm gonna keep that in the video. I'm with my see, I'm fucking up now too. I'm with my boy CZ right now.
What's up, guys? It's good.
I worked with him for like 4 years, man. Yeah. It was a good time. This guy used to fucking, every time I'd cut a goon or a scary looking guy, he'd play slow music as soon as I get close to the face. But how'd you get into the barber game, fam?
There was a barbershop, Smolds. That's where Josh worked at the owner of Throne. I never got like proper like haircut from barbershop before, right? Yeah, so I went to Josh, he cut my hair, and then like he just gave me like a blessed cut. Like I never had this before.
Yeah, it's the best experience.
Yeah, I just got like inspired because like the way I felt after the haircut, I was just like mad confident, and I was like mad shy when I was like around that time, you know.
And at what point did you know that you wanted to keep going with barbering?
When you and me started, we're like there's like Josh and like Brian and them and like Jay and like they're like the OGs, right? Like Mad One. And then after that there's like you, me, like Alba, JC, and like all those guys. I feel like after every generation they just keep getting sicker and sicker, you know.
Yeah,
and it makes me want to like keep up with them because it's so hard to keep up with them because they're so good, you know.
I forgot we used to hand out flyers downtown, bro.
Yeah, when the shop was like
we were dead and
yeah, we like walk around downtown.
But for up and coming barbers, what's one piece of advice you could give them?
Just try to stay hungry. Just like don't worry about like if you mess up on a haircut, because like you like after every mistake and every haircut you do, you get better. I don't know, I feel like I'm still figuring it out, you know.
Yeah,
I feel
like that's true. Me too, man.
Pull up in motorcades, I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way, 'cause I took control of things, ball in the solo way. And if you pattern my trend,
so what do you look for in a barber, bro, and what keeps you coming back to Banks?
Honestly, I've been coming to Banks for like 3 years. I've known him for like probably over 10 years. And ever since I got my hair cut by him, I can't go nowhere else. I don't even think about nowhere else.
Cheers. No problem. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming by.
I'm with the homie Banks right now. I had the pleasure of cutting with him for a couple months, man, and I love cutting with people that help me get better and like help feed my competitiveness. Like we would cut across from each other, and I love people that cut late nights and cut non-stop and like back to back, because it makes me want to do the same, you know. And even now that we're not cutting with each other, I'll see this guy cutting at like 12 or 1, and I gotta do the same shit. I gotta post up little timestamps that say like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I gotta make sure they know, you know.
How'd you get into the barber game, bro?
If you actually know me, I come from the streets, yo. I was a hustler, you know. So I was working construction. I couldn't get a $1 raise, you know. Like I was snapping, you know. And then I wanted to play basketball again. For the whole year, I was begging for a $1 raise. I got the raise. By this time, I was already focused on basketball. So I watched Creed, and then when the man got his promotion, the man quit and pursued his dream, you know? So when I watched the movie, I was like, you know what? Fuck construction, you know? So let me pursue my heart, what my heart tells me to do. So I started playing basketball. I was actually balling. I got back to like where I was, you know? And then I ended up hurting my knee. And I said, yo, it's not realistic for me to keep playing basketball, hurting myself, because every time I work up to where I want to be, I injure myself. So fucking one day, I was at Exclusive Fades. I was getting my hair cut from Shadow. Tito's right across.
Shout out Shadow.
Oh, yo, shout out my boy Shadow, the barber. Toughest barber in the city. Co-sign that nigga. So yo, I was cutting Shadow, and I was like, yo fam, like, how much does a barber make, you know? And the man's like, I don't know if it's confidential, but this is like, yo, this is what it is for me. I'm a realist. Yo, the man's like, yo, 100 bands. I was like, 100 bands? Yo, the next day I bought clippers.
You supply right away.
Yo, right there and then I called my brother. I'm like, yo, Jones, I think I'm gonna take this haircutting shit for serious, you know? I'm like, I looked at the mans in the shop at Exclusive Fades. I'm like, yo, if these mans could cut hair, I could do this for real, you know? And then since then, I put down the basketball. I was actually gonna go to Miami Fade School, you know? Because I was working construction, I actually applied for the second career. I got a second career grant from the government. It was like $28,000. I went to Market College, completed that 10-month course, 1,500 hours, which I didn't learn nothing about barbering. I became basically a hairstylist, you know? I was doing like root touch-ups, this and that. But shout out my boy Brian, Fresh Kabar, you know?
Let's go.
He was in the same class as me, and then I see him cutting every day, and I'm like, yo bro, like why don't you teach me, you know? He's like, nah dog, like don't worry, you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it. And then I just kept plucking away, and no matter what, anywhere I went to, I always make sure I worked harder than the other people in the shop. And I think that's what continued my growth like rapidly, you know, being a barber. And then I just finally caught the eye, and when I caught the eye, it was like game over, I'm here now, you know?
So after getting into the game and everything, what was that point in barbering where you're like, I want to stick with this, like I'm gonna go 100 with this? Like,
I do have a favorite moment, you know. That's when actually the phase hit me, you know. I was watching tutorials on YouTube. I used to watch Chris Bozio, 360 GZ. I just never got it. And the person who made it click was Rich the Barber. I watched his tutorial and it just clicked. I was like, this is how you do it, you know? And from then, I went to work the next day, and I started seeing the face improving. And as soon as my confidence gets up, it's like sky's the limit, because I can really start manifesting anything to my head, you know? And now when I see a client, I can just tell him like what's the best hairstyle for him, you know? If he agrees or not, but it's just how I see it as a barber.
For sure. And you're a business owner, fam, so I'm happy for you, bro. What's the biggest lesson you learned from transitioning to a barber, just a barber, into like a full-on business owner with people working under you and everything?
Well, like, you know, being a business owner, that was definitely like a step in the right direction. We moved forward, we moved backwards, now we're moving forward. Basically, we bought wavy cuts from Nick Wavy, shout out Nick Wavy. And then Corona, like we bought it during Corona, so we already knew the risk to reward, you know? There was higher risk than was reward. But at the shout out to groomsmen, I was working there for like 2-3 years, and then I already been a boss my whole life. That's how I've conducted myself, you know? And so like, I don't really like working for people, taking orders, or having to answer to people. So it was like a steal of a deal. I had to bite the bullet, you know. Sometimes you do something like that, you burn bridges, hurt relationships, but you have to figure out what's best for you and your family in the future.
With having a barbershop during quarantine and lockdown, bro, how's that fucked you up? Like, do you feel like the government helps like business owners like you out, or?
Well, like there's no comment on that part. But like from other businesses, yeah, you know, they got helped out, you know. Unfortunately, I had to shut mine down. And now I just got a new place at Queen and John. We're gonna start the construction this week, you know. Shout out to my bro, bigger and better things. But I think getting wavy cuts and actually taking that step forward and actually closing the shop and then reopening a shop, I've learned a lot in the last year, you know. And it took a lot to put that money up and then lose it, and now we're coming back. And where my heart's at, and in this industry, I feel like nothing can stop me now.
I think with both of us, there's a lot of stuff that we love about the barber game, but there's also shit that we don't like, and like shit we should change as barbers. So what's some things that you want to change in the barber game that you want to stop seeing?
I just want to see people more support each other more. You know, I feel like the game's like, I don't know, a lot of people haven't been in the rap industry, but the rap industry is just like the barber game. It's very like political. Seems like certain people are just siding with each other, you know? Sometimes people speak their mind, you know, when they might be offended, but it just is what it is. at the end of the day. But yeah, the barber industry, it could grow, but I just feel like it's so separated, you know, like even for someone like myself, I personally, maybe it's me, I don't really connect with too many barbers, you know. I connect with just the real ones, you know, and I'm not knocking nobody, I'm not calling no one fake, it just is what it is, you know. That's how I see it, you know.
And for any newer up and coming barbers, bro, what's one piece of advice you could give them?
Just keep hustling every day, you know. Like, doesn't matter if your cuts are not coming out the way you want them, you know. As long as you have that vision and you have that eye and you have that hustle, just keep working at it, because no matter what, if you don't work on your dreams, if you wake up and just give up, you're gonna push your dream back 6 months, you know. You gotta wake up and pluck at it even in the hard days. Even if your neck hurts, doesn't matter, just keep pushing. And that's one of the hardest things about being a barber, because you have to be very disciplined, because you can make a lot of money quick and then you can get lost in the sauce. And you know what I'm saying, even for myself, like I made a lot of money quick, got comfortable, kind of lost the passion for it. Then I'm like, realistically, what am I gonna do other than cut hair? You know, I'm sick at it. Why am I gonna go work for a job for 20 bucks an hour? That's not happening. Shout out everyone, shout out all the barbers, shout out everybody, you know. We should all connect. And then especially with the pandemic, you know, we gotta make, like, there gotta be some type of like structure to our industry that government feels safe, you know, with us opening up, because it feels like we're the last on the totem pole, you know. It doesn't matter about the cleanliness that we do, we provide. It's just like, you know, they don't even think about us, you know? And not even just like getting a haircut, it's not even about making the money, it's about being hygienic. Us as an industry, we gotta like come together and put our foot down, because we're just getting walked all over.
And lastly, bro, when's it acceptable to put enhancements on clients?
It's never acceptable. Yo, listen to man's receding, you know? No kids, 15, 18 under, you know?
I've never seen kids with enhancements yet. You seen it?
Yeah, I've seen a couple kids, you know. You gotta quit that shit. That shit's not righteous, you know? Like, those kids already have a full hairline. But yeah, whatever, it's a new part of the art, you know? People use it every day, I ain't knocking, but I personally feel it looks better if it's raw. You get the real deal. You're waking up, your hairline's still there the next day, you know? Not rubbing out. Alright, yo.
That's perfect, fam.
Yo, subscribe to my boy Chris416 if you're not already. We out.
I'm with my good boy Anu here, long-time client. Sure. What I love about being a barber, man, is that with your clients you get to learn a lot of stuff. Either I learned from them or they learned from me. And with this guy, I learned a lot throughout the years, man. So he just launched his own business during quarantine. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So I launched an oatmeal business. What we do is, like, we set out to make a brand that makes food that's tasty and makes people feel good. So we started off with a flavored oatmeal that we have in 3 different flavors right now: maple almond, dark cacao, and wild blueberry. Sell that online to our customers across Canada at the moment.
And what would you say is the biggest life lesson you learned with starting a business during these times, man?
When I started the business, or was thinking of starting the business, that was before COVID, right? So I didn't really like, it's not like we got into COVID and I was like, okay, I'm now gonna start this business. So what it was didn't really change. What changed was how we do it. Right? For every food brand, when you think about it, the first thing people want to do is, oh, I want to be in grocery stores, right? Like, it's like, which grocery store can I get into? Even with me, I was like, yo, I haven't made it until I walk into a grocery store and I see my product all over the place, right? Yeah. But now, all of our business is online, 100% of it. You know, we got advice recently too from a VC that we're trying to raise money from. And they were just like, if you can make money online, start by building a great brand online, direct to consumer, and then the retailers will end up coming to you.
What advice would you give to someone who's wanting to get into starting their own business?
The one thing I would say is, if you have an idea that you think is good, make sure, one, it can possibly make you money, right? Do all your research before you start spending money on it, right? So like, I researched for months, made sure that I asked my friends and family, would you buy something like this? When I made my product at home, I would get my boys to try it. All that type of stuff. All that type of stuff is free, right? Like, you don't need to pay or invest any money to do that. So I would say, one, you know, when you have an idea, actually go down the process and path of doing it and figuring it out. But before you start spending money and investing on it, check off all the free things from your list, right? Testing it with people is free. Talking about it, getting feedback is free. Researching on the internet is free, right? Like, do all of those things first before you start spending, you know, 20 grand, 30 grand on doing something else. Our Instagram handle is Overnight Oath, and our website is www.overnightoath.com. We chose the name Oath for the brand because, you know, one, the obvious correlation to the word oat. We make oatmeal-based products. And two, we really believe we're taking an oath with ourselves, and our customers take an oath to themselves. You know, our oath is to make great food that tastes good, makes you feel good, and is healthy. And we want our customers to take an oath that makes them feel like they're doing better for themselves from a wellness perspective. So
with my boy RX Fades, how'd you get into the barber game, man?
I was actually inspired by this guy named Bones the Goat. I messaged him. I remember always sending my cuts to him and shit like that. And then he just inspired me. I've always been into hair. Like, giving a person a haircut was a really rewarding feeling. So I wanted to literally just put a smile on everyone's face. Started working in my garage, in my basement, and then got into my first barbershop when I was like 14. Because I feel like once you pick up a clipper, you don't want to put it down again. And once you find it again, it's just like you're doing this for life.
At one point in your career, bro, in barbering, did you really fall in love with it and you were like, I really want to go full force with this, like this is it?
I remember when having this last lockdown before any barbershop was open again, I was like to myself, yo, if we lock down, I'm quitting this barbershop and I'm just gonna do it up. I'm just gonna make it happen one way or another. Reach out to all my clients, put in the dedication, the time, because I know it's a lot of effort and responsibility too. It's not just being a barber, being a business owner. It's taking care of your financial aspect. It's taking care of the clients, finding a way to make them feel like they're at home, they're safe, they're cared about, they're appreciated, and then it's just the responsibility of getting up every morning, that dedication, you know? No matter what you do, whether it's rapping, whether it's a barber, an analyst, an accountant, anything, once you put in that work and that effort, that consistency, it pays off. It pays off. Like, even if you're not trying to be talented at it, when you put in the time, you're eventually gonna gain that talent with it.
Everything going on with quarantine and the government, bro, how do you feel like they're treating us, and what do you think you want to change?
It affects barbershops heavy. Even if you own a barbershop that is able to cut hair, it still affects you. I see like a big barbershop at Glassbox, Peter Gosling, the guy owns like four locations and 2 of them were running. But what about the other 2? So all of that affects it. I feel like they could change a lot, but until then, it's a matter of us like actually wanting to make the difference and wanting to reach out to them. Because I feel like a lot of people are talking about it and they say, hey, like, we want the change and we want to do this and we want to do that, but they may not be reaching the right people. They may not be doing their research and being like, hey, if we want to make a change to this, who do I have to actually message? Or who do I have to talk to? For me, it affects me, but at the same time, it doesn't affect me enough to make a change, only because I am doing my own thing. I am a personal barber now. At a home studio, hopefully actually gonna make a studio, but that's where it affects me now, because that future, we never know when it's gonna end. We don't know if it's gonna end 10 years. We never know if it's gonna go away. Maybe it just might open, then close, then open, then close. It's not stable for us. So
for someone who's been in the game for so long, man, what's one piece of advice you could give to an up-and-coming barber?
Any form of social media, use it in the right ways, not the wrong ways. Posting every single day, posting on your story literally every hour is amazing in my opinion. Like, for anyone that doesn't do it, you're consistently in their top 5 on their story. Learning how to have a business is one thing a barber should learn, because there's barbers who are just gonna be barbers for life and work at a shop, and then there's barbers who want a business, want to own their own stuff. That and like word of mouth is amazing. Ask every client, be like, hey man, here's my cards. Can you repost this for me? Go out, your cards, take flyers if you have flyers. Literally just hand them out 24/7. Be like, yo, I'm that barber, I work at that barber shop. Check this out sometimes. If you're sending it to, well, out of the 100, 10 of them are gonna show up. Majority of barbers feel good when you ask about free game. They want, as a barber, you always wanna support other people. Our community is very tight, so as much as you can socialize, it's amazing.
You guys go check him out. My boy RX Fades, bro. Nasty with it. He's cleaning me up. I'm trying to get a beard like his too.